out so poor, and there was a worry about the performance of big tech, Romain.
Yeah, and that's a really good point here. I mean, when we talk about sort of what's moving the market, it really has been that momentum factor, at least for this day here. Volatility also moving here as well. And you take a look at value and size and some of the metrics that had sort of been leading us to the previous record highs. That's pretty much down all the way at the bottom here. So as we get the closing bells in the S&P 500, here's how it's shaking out. You're up about 38 points on the S&P 500. That amounts to about 0.9%. You're over a 1% gain here on the NASDAQ composite and about a 1% gain here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is going to close right around 34,138. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is the outperformer here on the day. 2239 is where it's looking to settle at. That's up 2.4%.
Yeah, what's interesting, guys, too broad-based, right, in terms of the buying. So we're seeing investors definitely play the economic recovery trade. We saw those industrials, those commodity names definitely bouncing back. We saw financials also coming back. So it was interesting to see that investors really kind of shrugging off some of the worries about global COVID cases and maybe some worries about the outlook, and they really were buying in. Just even the last few minutes of trading, Taylor, we saw an uptick.
You certainly see that on a sector level. I take a look at the level 2 sectors, and for our radio audience, we're up 3% on auto components. Durables, you're up almost 2%. Materials, some of the semiconductors up 1.8%. We look forward to Lam Research. Samsung's a big client of the DRAM, some of the wafer chips, right? So that's really what we look forward to as we just wrap up the close here. And on the downside, I have to say, Carol, with Tim, utilities, you know, a little bit lower, media and entertainment, dare I say it, Netflix, no.
Ouch, it hurt big time. All right, so yeah, that was one of the bummers today. Let me go, though, to Taylor, the gainers today. Dish, definitely to the upside. Check out the trade in Dish Networks, up almost 11%, enlisting Amazon, basically getting an assist from Amazon for its 5G network. We're going to see Amazon provide home in cloud for the network. Then you've got the cruise lines. Check out Norwegian Cruise. You can see that stock also a big gainer in today's session. We had that stock upgraded by Goldman to buy from a neutral. Really, the whole cruise industry moving higher. First Solar also gaining in today's session. That company was upgraded to neutral from underperform at Bank of America. And then Intuitive Surgical, that was a big gainer in today's session, vaulting into the $100 billion club, specifically after earnings. So they had a blowout quarter.
Well, let's take a look at some of the decliners, Carol. I can't talk about Netflix enough, guys. We talked about it 24 hours ago when the company came out with earnings, but that was a whiff on those customer numbers. And the company also guiding lower than expected, and that sent shares lower today, down more than 7%. Peloton also taking a tumble today. The company was hit with a class action lawsuit in California. This one says that the company misrepresented their treadmills as safe for households with children. We're also watching Knight Swift Transportation, a transportation and logistics company. The company said that it was warning of a worsening driver shortage. Hey, attracting those drivers and retaining drivers is going to get more expensive.
Talking of shortages, I'm going to go cross-asset for radio, for TV. Let's dig in what happened in terms of your world of commodities. Soft commodities is where I start. When you look at the global macro movers, wheat at 1.4%, but across the board you're seeing concerns about corn, whether it be your coffee beans as well, or we're seeing those prices push higher as we worry about weather. Arabica, that's the one that we see with Romain. That's a Starbucks order. But on the other side, flip the side, reverse it, WTI crude off by more than 2%. We're worried about inventory levels in the US. We're also worried about that global demand that, Carol, you were speaking of, these worries about the virus, particularly in India, particularly in the emerging markets. I take you out to FX because, well, actually, Canadian dollar, that is where the star performer was in terms of your currencies versus the US dollar. The CAD, the loonie, really powering up 0.9% today because we actually hear from the first central bank to really talk about taking their foot off the gas. Sure, there's still plenty of support to come, they promise, but they're even thinking about tamping back on that bond buying, and maybe, just maybe, we could see a rate hike sooner rather than later. Taylor, bonds, we see money move in across the world.
And you have to, and just going back to Bank of Canada there, you have to wonder, when you look at them sort of coming off the floor here with regards to their monetary policy, whether at all you can read anything into that, Taylor, about what we might see out of the Fed, whether they move a lot.
Reader of BlackRock says, get ready, it might be coming sooner than we think, and in days like today, it's where those bond companies shine. Unfortunately, I don't shine. It is the day of unch for me. The equity markets, the credit markets, according to Jeremy Siegel, is where all the action is. No one cares about full faith in credit. I care about a 20-year bond auction coming into the print. Carol, the second highest on record. Very good bid to cover, 2.42. maybe some of the international buyers, are they stepping back in? Nonetheless, we get no movement on the day, and I've resigned.
All right, don't resign. We need you. We need you. We also need to hear from the semiconductors. We did hear from ASML overnight in Europe, and that one really kind of knocking everybody's socks off, no pun intended. But seeing 2021 sales up 30%, the semiconductor area, Caroline, they were responsible for really providing some momentum in the U.S. trade today. The stocks was up about 2.5% today.
Chip equipment makers, that is where the money is to be made when you have supply chain issues. This is where the chip companies who need to print them out more are going to be buying from. So ASML on fire, really helping Europe come back on track today as we saw the stock market outperform. And we'll have that key read across to Lam Research remain. Those numbers coming out now, and it looks as though revenue, third quarter revenue, is seeing $3.85 billion remain. Good.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good quarter here. I mean, people were expecting it to be good here. You get that adjusted EPS number coming in at basically $7.50, $7.49 to be exact. That's about a buck above, the 90 cents above, what the estimate was. 3Q revenue coming in at $3.85 billion versus the estimate of $3.72. So you got to beat on both of those measures. Not seeing a forecast completely here off the board here, but also getting some other earnings crossing the wire right now, including, I'm told, Whirlpool.
Yeah, Whirlpool first quarter net sales coming in above estimates, $5.36 billion versus estimates of $4.85 billion. Look, we think about home builders, we think about people who are moving. When people are moving, they are buying new equipment such as these, such as appliances. That is looking like a really good
Kitchen
top line.
aids.
Is this sustainable, though?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh, go ahead.
My favorite comment of all the analyst research notes I read about Whirlpool, Romaine is going to laugh at me. We have increased demand for nesting. We're all buying appliances. We are all nesting, Carol.
Nesting?
Well, you know what I was going to
Have you
say?
seen?
And nesting is what?
I
Sitting
talked to
home
the
washing clothes?
Well, some of us. I mean, I don't know. We talked to the CEO over the past year, and he said, listen, consumers aren't going to change their habits over the past year. They've been home, they've been cooking. They all want appliances, and he expects this demand, Caroline, to continue for some time.
I mean, have we checked out Taylor's refrigerator lately? The seltzer that she has there? That is the picture of nesting if ever I do see them. We've shown it to our audience more than once. We should get it back on. She's long seltzer, but Romaine, this is an area to focus on in terms of numbers. So, but interestingly, whether Whirlpool's going to be affected by this, refrigerators, I'm guessing they might have a chip in or two.
Yeah, and this is a big deal. I mean, we're getting obviously the Whirlpool numbers, which of course they rely on chips. We're getting the Lam Research numbers, which of course is benefiting from that chip crunch. We still haven't seen the forecast and the outlook, and that's really what a lot of people want to know here. Whether you're talking about Lam Research, whether you're talking about Whirlpool, Chipotle, Discover Financials, Spirit Airlines, all the companies reporting tonight, it's really not about what happened last quarter. They really want to know about the sustainability of some of these numbers, about margins, and whether that is going to persist here deeper into 2021.
Our team is killing it. They pull a quote from the press release that sums up everything that we know. Semiconductors are reaching new heights of strategic relevance. Lam's differentiated ability to meet our customers is what separates us, highlighting that strong wafer fabrication spending environment. Every analyst, Tim, looking for that strong wafer demand commentary that we're getting.
Look, the fact of the matter is chips are in everything these days, and a global chip shortage is not the type of thing that can be solved overnight. This is the type of thing that has to be solved in years. So it makes sense that companies and analysts are bullish when it comes to equipment makers for chips.
We got Lam Research now. We're up about 1% in the after hours. All right, that's going to do it for Beyond the Bell, our cross-platform coverage on Bloomberg Radio, Bloomberg TV, and YouTube. We'll see you back tomorrow at the same time and the same place.
Meanwhile, we're going to be talking much more about the reflation trade, about these earnings. Whirlpool now up 8% after hours after boosting that forecast. Stick with us. This is Bloomberg.
Every Friday with 30 minutes dedicated to fixed income, I'm Jonathan Ferro. This is Bloomberg Real Yield.
Searching for info on options trading, and look, it feels like I'm just wasting time.
That's why TD Ameritrade designed a first-of-its-kind personalized education center. Their award-winning content is tailored to fit your investing goals and interests, and it learns with you. So as you become smarter, so do its recommendations.
So it's like my streaming service.
But except now you're binge learning.
Make this 10
See how
minutes
you can become
exactly.
a smarter investor with a personalized
Pretty
education
almost done
from
with
TD
testing
Ameritrade.
phase.
Visit tdameritrade.com/learn.
Smash that like button. Appreciate that. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell button. Get notified. And don't be shy. Leave a cool or helpful, useful comment. appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching.